25. The first agenda item is appointment of chairperson. I am Councillor Steve Hunt, leader of Neath Talbot Council, and I will be chairing today's meeting of Cabinet. So agenda item 2 is my announcement. So can I just welcome all members of the public or press who may be viewing this meeting this afternoon. Can I ask you to please ensure that your microphones are switched off, as you are here to observe the meeting only. Can I ask members and officers to please ensure that your phones are switched to silent for the duration of the meeting and that your microphones are switched to mute unless you are speaking. In addition, when asked to raise your hand, if members who are virtually attending the meeting could raise your electronic hand, and for members physically present here in the chamber, just raise your hands. And officers, can I also please ensure you verbally add any additional comments from scrutiny committees if this has not already been included within your reports. So agenda item 3 are declarations of interest. So can I just ask members now, are there any declarations of interest they'd like to give? And please would members indicate the item, what they are and what the interest is. And if you do have any, Tammy will forward you an electronic version of the form for you to complete and email back to her. So are there any declarations of interest?
I've seen one.
Thank you, Tammy. We move on to agenda item 4, and that are the minutes of the previous meeting. These minutes are the meeting of Cabinet on the 9th of April, and they're on pages 5 to 10 of your agenda pack. They are before you for approval of accuracy. So can I ask any member if there's any inaccuracies within the minutes? And can you please let me know? Councillor Harris, can you put your mic on then? Thank you.
It has been sorted, but I was actually there. I do remember because it was my birthday.
Leader, I can confirm that Councillor Harris was there. She wasn't present in the minutes, but we'll add that to today's minutes to correct those previous minutes.
Thank you, Councillor Harris. How would we miss you, isn't it? Yes. So I'm happy to propose these minutes that are a true record. Can I have a seconder, please?
Obviously, I look at it.
Thank you, Alan. Members, if you do not indicate to the contrary by raising your hand, I will assume that you're content with the accuracy of those minutes.
No indications to the contrary, Leader, so those minutes have been approved.
Thank you, Tammy. Agenda item 5 is the forward work programme for 24-25. Its forward work programme is on page 11 and 12 and is here for noting. Agenda item 6 is public question times. I have received no notifications from the public to speak at today's meeting. Moving on to agenda item 7, which is the electric vehicle on-street home charging. This report is on pages 13 to 36 and is here for a decision this afternoon. I'm going to call on Steve Owen to introduce this report, please. Steve?
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Sorry, I've been called in at short notice because Mike is off today. Obviously, it's the electric vehicle on-street home charging policy that we're putting forward today. I think it first came in front of you on the 17th of November 2023, and it went to scrutiny again this year on the 14th of March. As we have had such a huge increase in requests for people transferring over to electric vehicles and wanting to be able to charge the vehicles legally within Neath Talbot. When it went to scrutiny on the 14th of March, scrutiny wanted us to come back after today's meeting and highlight locations and the costs associated with the variety of solutions that are in the report towards the back end. Other authorities have already started to implement these, how can I say, these charging valleys or charging overhead systems. And I think today, basically, we're coming back to yourselves to request for the moratorium on charging, on not to allow charging on the highway to be lifted, and that the Director of Environment and Regeneration be delegated with the authority to agree the locations and details, obviously after it's come back to scrutiny. And we will obviously continue with discussions with Welsh Government over a period. I think the important thing for us is that, look at it from an engineering perspective, any channel that is cut in the highway obviously weakens our infrastructure. However, we do realise that in particular in our valley communities that there are problems with individuals who are purchasing cars, electric vehicles, and how they charge them in a safe manner. We've been in discussion. I think currently the cost of a turbo charge, which is our preferred method, which is in the documentation, would be around about £1,000 to purchase it and for it to be installed. And we would be looking at license agreements with individual households, where they would be responsible for any deterioration or any issues associated with that valley across the highway. So basically, I'm asking you to support the recommendations, but also for us to be able to go back to scrutiny as well prior to implementing anything.
Thank you for that detailed report, Steve. Can I see if any members have any questions or comments to make, please? I don't see any. Okay. I now refer members to the recommendations on page 19 and 20 of your agenda pack. I'll propose this agenda item. Can I have a seconder, please?
Hapus i eilio.
Thank you, Alan. Any abstentions? Don't see any. Members, if you do not indicate to the contrary by raising your hand, I'll assume that you're in favour of these recommendations.
No indications to the contrary, Leader, so those recommendations have been approved.
Thank you, Tammy, and thank you again, Steve. Agenda item 8 is policies for the use of artificial grass and installation of honeybee hives on MPT Council managed land. The report is on pages 37 to 54 and is here for a decision this afternoon. So can I now ask Kerry Morris to introduce this report, please? Kerry.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. This is a relatively short report, Leader, that brings forward for member consideration two policies that are ultimately linked to the biodiversity duty plan. Members will perhaps recall that the Council agreed and approved a third iteration of the biodiversity duty plan back in November of 2023. And that particular document identified a number of new actions, one of which was to bring forward policies that would address sort of current issues in terms of those issues that cause threat to nature, and particularly in relation to use of artificial grass and honeybee hives. As far as the use of grass is concerned, the artificial grass, obviously there's a contribution to plastic pollution, potential health hazards that come with that. There's clearly negative impact on local ecosystems and also clear disposal challenges associated with the use of that material. As far as the honeybees go, in some circumstances, sort of managed hives can have a harmful effect on local biodiversity and pollinators. So the policies that are brought forward in this particular report, Leader, are appended in Appendix 2 and 3, respectively. There are exceptions to the policies. It's not a blanket prevention. And those policies, particularly with artificial grass, the exceptions relate to sort of high performance sports pitches, and with the honeybee issue, exceptions to the policy will be considered sites with historic or heritage history of beekeeping, or if indeed required for food production. So that's all I needed to cover really in terms of the summary report. Leader, happy to take any questions.
Thanks for that very important information, Kerry. Can I see if any members have any questions again or any observations they'd like to make? Again, I don't see any. Oh, sorry, Nia. Sorry, Nia.
Sorry, I'm hiding here. No, I'd just like to say what a good idea it is, actually, because I know our biodiversity cabinet member isn't here this afternoon. Oh, yeah, you are at the moment. Okay, I'm taking, sorry, nature. But no, I think with plastic pollution especially, I welcome this, so thank you.
Thank you, Nia. Sorry you asked to speak now. Oh, any other member would like to make any observations? I don't see any. I now refer members to the recommendations on page 41 of your agenda pack. I will propose this agenda item. Can I have a seconder, please?
Hapus i eilio, Cadeirydd.
Thank you, Alan. Are there any abstentions from members? Again, I don't see any. So, members, if you do not indicate to the contrary by raising your hand, I will assume that you're in favour of the recommendation.
No indications to the contrary, Leader, so those recommendations have been approved.
Thank you once more, Tammy. Agenda item 9 is the list of approved contractors. The report is on pages 55 to 66 and is here for a decision. Can I just ask, are there any officers who would like to add anything to this standard report? Simon?
Yeah, excuse me, Chair. Just to confirm that it is the standard report. There's only 3 companies going on to the list. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Simon. So, can I ask if members have any questions on this report? I don't see any. I now refer members to the recommendations on page 57 of your agenda pack. I'm happy to propose this agenda item. Can I have a second of this one, please?
Hapus i eilio, Cadeirydd.
Thank you, Alan. Any abstentions? Again, I don't see any. So, members, if you do not indicate to the contrary by raising your hand, I will assume you're in favour of these recommendations.
Yes, no indications to the contrary, Leader, so the list of approved contractors can be updated accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you again, Tammy. Agenda item 10 are urgent items. I have received no urgent items this afternoon. Agenda item 11 is access to meetings. The access to meetings report is on pages 67 to 72 of your report packs. I propose that we now move into private session. Could I have a seconder, please?
Hapus i eilio.
Thank you, Alan. Are there any abstentions? Again, I don't see any. So, members, if you do not indicate to the contrary by raising your hand, I will assume that you are in favour of now moving into private session.
It's confirmed we're in private session now, Leader. The members of the public have been removed and the recording